Hello everyone! Welcome back for some more Fate Grand Order. We are Cosmos and the Lost Belt. We're doing it. That's true, because guess what? It's time for us to continue on with the main story. Let's not worry about that event. I will say, I did finish off all the quests, and there was one final quest that was unlocked. Which it said, it's like, wow, you unlocked a final quest. Which, one, there's no story, I'm not going to show it off, but you do actually, in this raining encounter, fight against, Shiki from, Kiara no Kyokai, otherwise known as Garden of Sinners. Now, because I haven't watched that yet, I'm going to avoid it for now. I will be getting around to watching Garden of Sinners eventually. It is just a case of look, I'm gonna be real. I thought I was nearly done with Fate. There's not. There's so much all the Nastyverse stuff. I'm getting there, okay? But for now, we're actually continuing with the main story and actually moving on to Lostbelt number 2, the Eternal Icy Fire Century, Götterdämmerung. I'm not going to, I was going to say, I'm going to go translate that, but then I thought probably not the best idea. So let's not do that yet. Let's see if the game tells us what that is. So let's go head on in. I'm excited because, you know, more main story is good. Especially because the writing quality with the Lost Belts is like peak tip top, so. Oh, right. This was pretty big. I repeat, I am a mage from proper human history. Please come find me at the following coordinates. I forgot about this. Thank you for reminding me. This is Bollanders, the Wandering Sea.
Watering Sea? Watering Sea? The Watering Sea? Oh, you missed my voice, didn't you? That's one of the three great organizations of the Magecraft world. There's the Clock Tower in London, the Atlas Institute in Egypt, and the oldest of them all, the Wandering Sea. It was located on an island from the Age of Gods, hidden in the northern oceans. Does this mean it still exists?
Yeah, wow, we're all shocked because we thought everything got diggity incinerated. God, the amount of foreshadowing of... Like, the amount of foreshadowing to the endless white desert in various, you know, not only events, but in, you know, even some of the earlier remnants there. It's really good. And I would never have picked it up if I didn't go do Lostbelt 1, then go back, you know. Atmospheric analysis complete. Nitrogen, oxygen, argon, and carbon dioxide levels all green. Oh, so like we're good to step outside? The mana in the atmosphere is almost identical to levels in the 21st century. I'm not picking up any harmful trace substances either.
So we still have breathable air even in this creepy, bleached world. Well, that means we can park the shadow border and go over and look for ourselves. What do you think, Tanner? Does that sound intriguing, stepping out into a world of sheer nothing in every direction? Of course it does. First we'll go out and get some fresh air, then we'll look for food.
You haven't actually told me what the Wandering Sea actually is, though.
This silence is cryptic. My smile is empty.
Oh, you don't know either, though, huh?
Of course I do, you dolt. Gordolf Musik is not a man to pretend to know something he doesn't. The Mage Association isn't a monolith, you'll have you know. Just because I used to work at the clock tower doesn't mean I've ever been to the supposedly living Watering Sea of the Northern Sea.
Oh, so you've only heard rumors? I thought you were from some big important family, old man.
Don't you call me that, double chin!
Oh, that's a pot calling the kettle black.
If I must spell it out for you, then here it is. The Watering Sea of Bollanders is the first enigma ever discovered in the world of Magecraft, and it'll be the last to be puzzled out. It's an island so mysterious and full of mystics that even such a gifted mage of an incredibly prestigious bloodline as myself may not ever set foot in it.
It's true. That all fits with what's in Caldia's database. It says that though the Mage Association has been around since the start of the AD era, it also split into 3 branches shortly after its inception. The mages who settled in London evolved with the times and focused on developing magecraft over the course of history. That faction went on to become the Clock Tower, the largest and most powerful magecraft organization in the world. Its members include the Atmosphere family, the founders of Caldia, and Mr. Gordolf here.
Quite so. Here in the 21st century, the main association of the clock tower are all but synonymous.
The next major faction is the Atlas Institute in Egypt. They're dedicated to perfecting alchemy. We actually infiltrated their headquarters once during the Sixth Singularity. It was a huge research complex, almost like a giant crypt built deep underground, and as easy as it was to get in, it was hard to get out. The Atlas Institute's ironclad rules that the technology created there must never leave. But Caldia's first director was granted an exception thanks to the Atlas contract. The technology he was able to take from the Atlas Institute enabled him to complete Caldius. It was also the Atlas Institute that presented him with the Void Reality Observation Device Paper Moon, one of the finest mystic codes ever made.
Indeed, they seldom poke their noses out of their little hole in the ground, but I am told they do converse with the Lords, albeit as little as possible. They may be a heartless bunch who only care about weapons and technology, but they can be rather useful if you play your cards right.
And finally, the last faction is the Watering Sea, the Bollanders, said to be somewhere in the North Sea. However, the most I could find about them was a brief overview, even in Caldia's extensive files. It said that their cardinal rule is to only recognize magecraft from the Age of Gods, and refuse to accept any advancements or alterations urged by civilization. In essence, their ideology is the exact opposite of the clock towers.
Indeed, refusing to accept progress in magecraft means refusing to accept consumer civilization. The Wandering Sea's philosophy of magecraft is fundamentally incompatible with modern human society. That is why they keep their gates firmly shut, and why they seldom add to their number. In other words, a bunch of old fuddy-duddies obsessed with magecraft so ancient I'd be measured with carbon dating. That's right, they do open their gates just once every year to try and recruit promising new
I was gonna say, you gotta get new people somehow. People do die.
But even among mages of the clock tower, the number archie makes in the Watering Sea can be counted on one hand. Do you see my point? I'm saying the Wandering Sea is every bit as secretive as the Atlas Institute, just in a different way. No one from the outside world has ever been able to get the full story, the reason being,
as the name suggests, the Wandering Sea is always on the move. Most whom know of it believe it to be a floating island somewhere in the North Sea, but it is in fact the very opposite. The Wandering Sea's headquarters were built before the AD era began, and they never move at all. It is instead the sea in which they are located that moves around, a world unto itself in many ways. That is almost certainly why its location still remains a secret, even in the 21st century. Yeah, because Google Maps, you know? Land that moves around, while placing mystic textures on itself. I see. That would make it its own independent singularity. It would also explain how it was able to escape whatever turned the Earth's surface into an endless white desert.
All this time they've been turning their noses up at us, but the moment things go south, they don't have any issues sending us a distress signal. Some successors to true mystics they turned out to be. They should try to take a place from our book. We're the ones who made it through Russia by the skin of our teeth with no outside help. We're the ones who are currently flailing about with no plan.
At least you understand that the situation is still pretty dire, I guess. Given the present circumstances, it looks like the people of the Wandering Sea have decided to bend their rules in order to offer us a lifeboat.
At any rate, Administrative Advisor Holmes, I have a question for you. I would like to be as certain as possible. What do you make of this? Can we trust that the distress signal is genuine?
I'm afraid I can't speak to that. What do you think, Da Vinci? It could go either way from the look of it. The transmission isn't part of the clock tower's standards, but its wavelength is pretty close to the waveforms the Atlas Institute uses. Since we don't have any data about the Wandering Sea ourselves, I can't really give you a definitive answer. Still, I can verify there's definitely something to be found at these coordinates. Whatever their story is, if there's a Magecraft workshop there, I'd really like to at least check it out. I know we managed to stretch things with the materials we got in Russia, but there are still limits to what the Shadow Border can do. What I really want to do is retune, that's a word, the whole frame from scratch, but I doubt we'll be finding much in the way of materials considering the world seems to be an empty wasteland. These coordinates from the Wandering Sea would put it in the seas west of Norway. We could go through the Scandinavian peninsula, or turn north of Germany, and cut across Denmark. We just left Moscow heading west, so it'll take us a few days to reach them, regardless of our route. Assuming that the border can convert the mana in the atmosphere into electricity, that just leaves a question of food. Wait, yeah, what if we just go there with the zero sail? No zero sails. As a technical advisor, I expressly forbid it. Even if we are going to run into another one of those storm walls along the way, we need to stick to the surface as much as possible.
Why? And why did you say there are more of those storm walls? Explain yourself, technical advisor. If there's another storm wall in our path, doesn't that mean that running straight into another Lostbelt?
We don't have any other choice, Gordolf. Not with the two big problems we're facing. First, there's the small matter of the Wandering Sea living up to the name. These coordinates they sent us are all over the place. Literally, in fact, they're in a constant state of flux. Nothing definite or precise. With coordinates like these, it would be very risky to try zero sailing there with the paper moon. So until and unless we go to the Wandering Sea directly and forge some kind of connection to it, a long-distance zero sail is out of the question. Second, this is the real problem. We don't have the energy. Yes, Holmes so helpfully suggested converting mana into electricity as if it were a simple matter, but that would only get us so far. The conversion rate isn't efficient enough, so we'd end up spending more power than we can produce, which would make a long zero-sail trip fatal. After all, no more power means no more working life support systems, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be out in this bleached white world all by myself. Good point. The logic walls we have put up in the zero space do use a lot of power. At our current energy levels, I don't think the border could last 2 hours there, and like Da Vinci said, we don't have exact coordinates we need.
Brrr. So what? They're saying we need to enter another Lostbelt if we're to reach this possible hope for salvation? Or is this new Lostbelt anyway?
If we use a typical world map, then the entire Scandinavian peninsula is covered by... Okay, so it's not Germany, it's Scandinavia. Okay. Well, that would explain why one of the servants that appears here, I know, is of Norse, you know... I know of a couple servants here, because when I, well, one, we've met them in a previous event. But two, of course, it's like you can't avoid, you know, looking them up. But three, I look up sometimes who are, like, the main servants that appear, just so I can get someone for the thumbnail, who probably won't be in this part's thumbnail, but who might come later. Unless he is, in which case, oh, hi. Another half a day or so of driving, and you should all get to see the closest thing to the edge of the world for yourselves. I take that to mean this white featureless ground will continue until we exit Russian territory, then. At any rate, we have two possible routes to the Wandering Sea's designated coordinates. One that takes us across the Scandinavian peninsula, and one that brings us out to sea via Poland and Germany. Da Vinci, in your estimation, which of these gives us our best chance? Should we go by land or by sea? I think making a sea voyage would be a lot to ask of the border. We could perhaps get through the Strait of Dover. But to be honest, I'd rather we keep our distance from the British Isles, since we have no idea about the state of the oceans just now. So what I'm saying is, I think the overland route is the best choice right now. Good grief. No longer are we done with one Lostbelt than we're off to a second. Your thoughts, Mr. Tanner? That's kind of a scary thought. I mean, then again, it's the only place where there'll be food. Indeed, I heartily concur, but I promise you will have our full support. To be afraid in a situation such as this is the mark of sanity. Let us just leave it at that.
We're so set on having us cross the Scandinavian peninsula, then aren't you, Da Vinci? Alright, we've come this far after leaving Moscow to the border's current speed. We should reach the peninsula in about 2 days. Very well. Give us time to make sure we're fully prepared. Meteor, if we run into anything, we can use you to shore up our defenses along the way. Take that opportunity to stop the border and ensure everything is in good working order. Da Vinci, look after the little demi-servant girl. I can't have her falling down on the job. Holmes, come with me. We're going to the solitary confinement chamber.
Solitary confinement? Mr. Gordolf, does that mean...
Of course. I'm going there to...
I forgot we had Kadok. I was like, why? Right. That's right. We have him with us.
I'm going there to interrogate Kadok. He should be waking up any time now. It's time for me to put my brilliant questioning skills to use. When I'm through with him, he'll have told us what the cryptids are, what Wodam is planning, everything. Mark my words.
I'm coming with you, too.
Don't you look at me like that. You need the right people for the right job. I may not be the best fit for interrogation, but you? Even less so. Don't you worry. Kadok may be something of a twisted little brat, but he's still a growing boy. Merely tempt him with food and he'll be putty in my hands. Trust me, one whiff of my creamy carbonara will tear his complexion from sour milk to sunflowers in an instant.
I don't want to think about Gerdal's carbonara.
Were we not, Mr. Tanner, I'll see to it that the interrogation doesn't devolve into violence. In fact, I have my own questions I wish to ask him. I have a fairly good idea of the crypt's goal now, but I also believe I know the extent of Kadok Zemlupus's personal knowledge. However, there are still two important things I need to know about. Or know little about. The Tree of Emptiness and that Serious Light command spell of his. Granted, the latter is something Kadok merely mentioned once, and may not be that important. Uh-oh.
But emergency alert, what's this all about? I thought there weren't supposed to be any more up with Sneaky.
I cannot believe that, like, this Fate Grand Order is just, okay, we're good. Let's take this time to prepare. Emergency signal. Never mind, let's go. We're not out of the Russian woods yet. Something's approaching us at high speed. It's closing in on our port side at over 90 kilometers per hour. Come on, Munier, floor it before it catches up to us. I can't. We're just about to go uphill. The border can't go any faster. Oh, crap. I'm picking up a heat signature, too. It's an RPG. Oh, let's hope it's a JRPG and not like The Witcher. Hey! Impact in 3, 2...
I felt that. Please tell me that was under direct hit Da Vinci. Damage report. Is the engine intact, or we're gonna have to bail in the middle of this race?
I'm sure that the damage is negligible and our armor will be perfectly intact. We shouldn't need to do more than wipe off the scorch mark. The Shadow Border's armor is a composite of cutting-edge technology and magecraft. Normal weapons can't even scratch it.
That's not what I'm seeing, Holmes. That blast took out one of our armor plates. Another hit like that and we'll be in deep shit.
Really?
Oh, Holmes!
Red, I remember now. This is the same sort of explosion I felt way back 2 weeks ago, when I was a hapless, albeit handsome man being shot with an anti-materiel rifle. This can only mean that Koyan Sky is back to...
I forgot about... Oh, yeah, she's still around, too.
Koyan Sky is back to finish the job. It might really be Kurtz this time.
So where's the trip down memory lane, old man? Come on, Holmes, do something.
Right. My apologies. I'm not used to eating crow. Evacuate all staff in the portside hallway to the engine room immediately. Miss Curiolite and I will go deal with this attack. On that note, Miss Curiolite, I would like you to put up a magical energy barrier in the internal hallway so as to fend off a possible second round. I trust you're all right with that, Tanner?
Yep, go for it, Mash. Don't worry, Senpai. I won't let them put one more scratch on the border. The hostile entity should reach the border in 50 meters. Putting up a visual now.
They must think they're hot stuff. That vehicle must have impressive suspension if they're heading straight at us, though. I didn't think Russia had any race cars like that around. All right, where are you, you little leftover Oprichnik? Let's take a look. What the actual hell?
That's not a vehicle, it's a person. Someone is approaching on foot. Wait, that silhouette. Oh my god. Oh my god. Kira is coming up to us with an RPG?
Oh my god. Clergy vestments and a Lostbelt servant reading. It's that priest, the one who calls himself Metropolitan Macarius.
Are we actually gonna get to fight him now? I woke up when I thought I heard a voice calling me. It was a cold, almost brittle kind of voice. Where am I? I guess this means I'm still alive. There's a dull ache in the back of my head where I got pistol whipped. Sure wasn't playing around. Goddamn cowboy. Shouldn't outlaws be cool and laid back and all that? It's shaking. Am I in a vehicle? This must be the Shadow Border. I try to assess the circumstances as best I can in this dimly lit place. Looks like they took me prisoner. I bound my hands, but I can move around freely. The anti-magecraft cuffs they must have used on me are lying in pieces on the floor. Did I break them unconsciously while I was out? No, I couldn't have. I know I'm not capable of that. Why are the cuffs so damn cold? Did something freeze them enough to turn them brittle? Huh? Wait, is Anastasia here? Maybe it's her farewell gift to me. Oh, okay. The thought even entered my mind makes me sick. I don't have time to get all sentimental. Now that I've failed, I don't have the right. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm going to waste this opportunity. I'm going to make a getaway. Oh, okay, so this is lining up. Okay, perfect. Thank you for having that explosion be a nice point to see exactly where it's happening. Someone attacking the shadow border from the outside? But the only ones who would do that are the cryptors. Does that mean someone's here to rescue me? No, there's no chance of that. They're here to shut me up. There's no other reason anyone would waste their time on a loser like me. Alright, I can't just sit around and wait for them to kill me. First off, I've got to find a way out of here. After that, who knows? Escaping's all I can hope for now. Once that's done, I'll just have to see where the winds take me. I really hope it's just Kirei walking with an RPG. That would be the sickest.
Damn it, there goes another one. What's the situation?
Mash raised her shield just in time. That one barely did anything. Way to go, Mash. Woohoo! The hostile servant is still in pursuit on the border's port side. Wait, is he about to fire again? How many rounds did he even bring with him?
I just noticed the NFF services marking on that thing. There must be an Akarian sky as well as he's literally walking with an RPG. It's the best. No wonder it was able to damage the rangecraft armor. That's sad. It looks like the priest is all sermon and no rod. Like pearls before swine, so too gold before music, I suppose. The only one who could probably handle a modern magecraft weapon like that is Akarian Sky herself.
Wait, what? The hatch is open. Why is the hatch open? Gordolf, quick, check the internal surveillance cameras. I think someone opened the border's hatch and got outside. There's someone on the starboard map.
What? Why can't we write to explain we believe somebody's hanging off the side like this is some kind of an action move? Wait, that's Cadox and Lupus. Just how many adventure crazed nuts are there around here?
I thought there was something on us. The signal's headed toward the deck now.
We're trying to take advantage of the confusion to escape, eh? Come on, Tanner. We're taking that hatch and going up there, too. Do not let Cadoc get away. I have a mountain of questions I still need to ask him.
Right. You, huh? Figures you'd show up. You're looking at a little less dazed now. Glad to see you're back to your usual happy-go-lucky nonsense. It looks like you're back up and at him too, huh? Yeah, guess we've both been pushing ourselves to the limit. Takes its toll, doesn't it? I always felt the pressure before, but it's even worse now that it's gone. Hell, I might as well have had a bag of feathers on my shoulders earlier compared to now. We both knew what we wanted to do, but we really didn't get it.
Enough chit-chat already, some bloopers. Get back inside the border now, and I'll make sure you're treated fairly under international law. Trust me, you don't want to be stupid and go off jumping a moving vehicle like this. I can tell from experience that you'll regret it. You'll end up dead and we'll have lost you. Show me that you're willing to help us, and I'd be willing to put in a good word for you with the association.
Don't have to threaten me. I thought there might be a lifeboat or something up here, but I guess there's nothing. Getting out of here was a huge pain in the ass, but looks like it was all for nothing. Once, I might have jumped off just to spite you, but now I've got a promise to keep. I can't go throwing my life away. You want to interrogate me, right? Fine. I'll tell you everything you want to know. That's a small price to pay for survival. At this point, I don't care what it takes to stay alive.
Excellent. This makes my little insurance trip out here well worth it.
Nani? Turn around, you idiot!
Caddock! Aw, dang. Rasputin, you son of a...
Why, if it isn't Gordolf Music, how nice to see you again. You too, Master of Kaldia. Allow me to offer my congratulations on successfully taking down Russia.
Whoa, let go of him right now!
I'm afraid I can't do that. I have my own concerns. You understand, of course. My job was to oversee Kadok Zemlupus's role as a cryptor, and that role has come to an end. So I thought I would give him as merciful a send-off as possible.
As if Da Vinci wasn't enough, now he's gone and stabbed Kadok in the back too. As a gentleman, I'm unbound to stop him, but my golf punch will never work on him. Damn it! Where's Holmes where you need him? I thought he was always supposed to be 2 steps ahead.
Not to worry, Director Gordolf. Eliminating all of you isn't in my job description. Russia is currently my sole jurisdiction, you see. As such, I needed to handle this before you left the area entirely. I hope you can forgive the necessity of me resorting to such drastic measures, unbefitting of my age though they are. I'm afraid I lack Koyanskaya's ability to move between Lostbelts. I'm limited to getting around the same way you do. As a middle manager of sorts, I'm not able to go to the next Lostbelt without the foreign god's permission. Foreign god? Intriguing. Would you be so good as to tell us more, Metropolitan Macarius?
I'm sorry I'm late, Master. Kadok.
Now then, I'd best be on my way. I hope you won't mind my saving the answer to your question for our next meeting, Sherlock. Oh, but before I go, I would at least like to put a stop to this false name you've been using for me. My true name is Rasputin. Grigory Rasputin.
Oh, so he's actually Rasputin. Right? So if I type in Grigory Rasputin. Right? Okay. He's actually Rasputin. That's good. I much prefer him as Rasputin to Metropolitan Macarius, who I've never even really heard of, but we all know Rasputin. Oh my god. That raises things about his member, let's say.
That said, I confess that the spirit origin doesn't belong to me. I'm simply borrowing it from a dead man. I deduced all that long ago, my dear priest. My concerns are more fundamental in nature. Where did you acquire that dead man? In proper human history, Kotomine Kiri's body was cremated. So how did you come to take possession of a dead man without a body? Oh, I'm sure you'll figure that out sooner or later, Sherlock. That is, after all, what you do. You once called the incineration of humanity a mythological murder case. In which case, go ahead and label this attack the same way. Ask yourself who committed this crime and how. Once you have arrived at that answer, we will meet again. When that day comes, I look forward to you accusing the culprit in person.
Father Kotomine, Rasputin is made off with Kadok. What should we do, Senpai? Maybe if we turn the border around now.
Don't bother. We'll never catch up, and we can't risk going back to Russia. We'll just have to give up on interrogating Kadok Zemlupus. This was my fault. I should have considered that someone may pursue us.
Well, less answers. Oh, he's still alive. Damn it, I can't believe I got knocked out again. Sneaking up on people and stabbing them is kind of your thing, huh? I think my heart actually stopped for a while back there.
Indeed it did. If it hadn't, did you really think Holmes would let us escape so easily? No, if he had realized you were still alive, they would have come back to retrieve you. I couldn't let that happen. Not after Krishtaria asked me to bring you back to Olympus.
Is that so? Well, it doesn't matter either way. You wasted your time, Rasputin.
Oh?
Whether Chaldea kills me or Wodyme does it, I'll be just as dead. Now that I've failed, I don't belong with either of them. I'm just gonna be an example to the other cryptors. What? What is it? You got something to say, then spit it out, father.
Apologies. I was just thinking how much easier my job would be if Kirstaria was that sort of person. At any rate, it's clear what's going to happen to you. You may have lost your right to run a Lostbelt, but you still have your Sirius light. That command spell belongs to our god. As long as you possess it, your life does not belong to you alone.
Okay. Is Sirius the god? That's interesting. Because that's, of course, a constellation. I don't know much about Sirius. I do know that Sirius was the penultimate, super mega boss of Mega Man Star Force 2 or 3, one of them. But yeah.
You no longer have the option of throwing your life away, Kadok Zemlupus. Your fate is to have every last bit of your soul squeezed out of you until the day you die.
Well, that's not fun. Wow, this is just a big prologue, huh? I kind of love it. I kind of love it. For realsies. It's great. been 2 days since Rasputin, the pseudo-servant, attacked. The Chaldeans are currently on their way to the Lostbelt in Scandinavia. Everything is so white. The words blank slate have never seemed so appropriate. It's like the entire surface has been reset. Nothing but pure white wherever you look. Everything is gone. Nature, civilization, even the flora and fauna have completely disappeared. No, not disappeared. It's more like they've been pruned away. All there is to see in every direction is a pure white plain. Though there were a few topographical exceptions along the way. It looked like the remains of some buildings, but they appear to have been warped by extreme heat or destroyed in some sort of shock wave. Whatever the cause, upon closer inspection, one could see that these had once been man-made structures in some kind. This led to Tanner and his allies stepping out of the shadow border to investigate further. The atmospheric composition was normal, the air was breathable, and the gravity was the same as before. There was no need for a hazard suit or spacesuit or anything of the sort. Good thing you didn't have to get all dressed up like an astronaut, huh? Said Leonardo da Vinci with a cherubic smile. Look, Senpai, you can see them up ahead. Buildings. Yo, that's cool. Whoa, alright, Nier Automata. It looks like even the buildings have been bleached. That explains why we couldn't see them at a distance. Those are buildings, right? If there are any survivors here, we should bring them back to the border as soon as... She trailed off all of a sudden, probably because what she saw was beyond anything she could have imagined. No one could blame her. Anyone else would have been agape at the bizarre sight before them. The color had been drained out of everything. Some parts of the buildings even looked as though they had been rubbed away with an eraser. The whole thing looked like some bizarre postmodern art exhibit, and was made all the more baffling by being in the middle of a bleached desert. There were no signs of life anywhere, not even the remains of what had once been alive. It all looked so sterile, especially for ruins. It was the sort of thing you'd only see in dreams. Everyone back on the border, seeing it on their monitors, must have thought they were looking at footage from an alien planet. Let's go in. There might still be something inside. At least this will explain how they get some food. Earth had changed. It had been completely bleached, a planet now totally devoid of life with the exception of the Lostbelts. But even when it had been reset to a blank slate, there were still some places, some buildings, some life forms that had survived. Chaldea decided to call these remnants. Today was the first contact they had with these sort of remnants, the buildings that had been left behind on this newly blank Earth. Despite the new director's pessimistic outlook, the other staff couldn't ignore the possibility, however slight, that there still might be other survivors. But even though they never did find any other people, their investigation wasn't for nothing. Because they did find signs of life. Signs that someone had survived and had been there before them. Oh, interesting. Here, near the Scandinavian Lostbelt, in what used to be Helsinki, the capital of Finland. Dudes really be like, hey, come check out my pad, and they'd be living like this. Were signs in these buildings that someone somewhere was still alive. Signs that someone had been living here for days, weeks, or maybe even months. Empty bottles, piles of canned food. Oh, hopefully they can take that. The remains of a communication device that someone had clearly spent a great deal of effort trying to repair. There was even something that looked like a doll lying on the floor, a sign that a young child had been among the survivors. And above all, they found something that had clearly been left behind with intent. According to this journal, it looks like somebody was here as recently as 2 days ago. The last entry is dated the day before yesterday. It looks like there were 6 survivors at first, but over time, their numbers gradually dwindled until... In the end, whoever wrote this journal must have been the last one to disappear. Where could they have gone? Unfortunately, though whoever wrote the journal had excellent penmanship, it was in a language that Tanner could not read. Oh, well, shoot. It's got to be one of those with, like, weird, like, Ukrainian letters. Like, I can't read that. Could have been Finnish or maybe Swedish. Either way, it may as well have been Greek to Tanner. Well, okay. Yeah, those ones have weird letters. Can't read that. Why did this happen to our planet? Why do these invaders from another world hate humanity so much? If nothing else, those final questions written on the last pages were clear. Why? 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 That is all these people could ask, even as they were wiped away. Almost as though they were being punished for seeking meaning in their crisis. It's time, Master. Let's head back to the border. We're almost to Sweden now. We should rest up for the coming battles. As they left their remnants behind, one thought haunted each and every one of them. Nowhere was there so much as a trace of blood, a hint of violence. Soon the Shadow Border will enter the second Lostbelt. Will it be a hellish wasteland inhospitable to life, or perhaps... Whoa, that's cool looking. So, that's what the storm walls look like from the outside. Yep, finally about to take the plunge into the Scandinavian Lostbelt, and not because we have no other choice like with Russia. This time we chose to do it ourselves. As you all saw, there's a tree of emptiness here as well, though at this distance it looks more like a faint pillar of light than a tree. Oh wow, that's the tree? Wow.
Yes, quite so. We may not know what it's like on the inside, but we do know exactly what we need to do. This is a Lostbelt, a place carved out of history from a history different than our own. There's no telling what horrors may await us there. Once we cut down the Tree of Emptiness thingamabob, the Lostbelt will return to its original state, and the storm wall will disappear.
Yep, but I think we should put this particular Tree of Emptiness investigation off until later. Our priority is to slip through the Scandinavia and get to the Watering Sea. Depending on what it's like in there, we might just be able to ignore the Lostbelt. If we're going to invade this place, we should do so after we've improved our offensive options at the Watering Sea. It won't be for Tanner and Mash to be the only, it won't do for Tanner and Mash to be the only two ever risking their necks on the front lines.
I just hope that transmission really was from the Watering Sea. So what now? I thought these storm walls were impenetrable.
That we can penetrate using the Shadow Border's primary function. That storm is approximately 2 kilometers wide, but if we will cross it via zero sail.
We're gonna dive back into void space? Come on. Surely I'm not the only one who was wildly uncomfortable seeing a soul leave his body, was I? I mean, is it just me, or is looking down at your body in third person a truly unsettling experience?
I want to try those things where it's like you put on the VR helmet, and then you have a camera looking at yourself from like another corner of the room. Like, I want to try that. I really do.
You're just gonna have to deal, Gordolf.
You're kidding me. You mean you're completely fine with it? Does it bother you having a bird's eye view of your own life?
No, of course it makes us all feel sick. You're the commander now, yeah? So freaking suck it up, would you? Meteor is based. Honestly, I've gotten used to it. I mean, a short hop through void space is nothing compared to a ray shift. Not that I've ever ray shifted myself, of course.
Why don't you start talking back to me, Meteor? Ray shift, sway shift. Clearly, this airsail program that began under my new administration is far more impressive achievement. Holmes, Da Vinci, prepare the Shadow Border for takeoff.
Indeed, Gordolf, I for one am truly inspired after your little speech. And well done on your part, Mr. Meteor. That will be one less thing to worry about during our dive.
Okay, places everyone, time to strap in for today's out-of-body experience. The good news is, we're not going to dive as deeply as we did last time. We're just going to skim under the surface, so to speak, so we stick to reality space and distance as closely as possible. We have to do it like that, since we don't have anything tying us down to Scandinavia. It'll be like a split-second dive into a two-dimensional plane. Think of it like going scuba diving without an oxygen tank. We just need to hold our breath for a little bit while we make it through the wall. All set, Tanner? You do know we'll be setting foot in another brand new world soon, right?
Well, let's go where no man has gone before. Again!
Got it. Okay, then let's go see what's on the other side of this wall. Expanding void reality observation device, Paper Moon. Destination, southern Sweden, near Norrköping. Oh boy, the Swedish pronunciation is going to kill me. Expanding logic formula on the Shadow Border's external armor. Removing existence verification for reality space. Future prediction. Hypothetically prove mirror world plane in 20 seconds. Relax space-time friction decompression for 0.4 seconds. All systems are green. Void space may be a calm sea, but as always, don't forget to watch for big waves. Shadow Border, untether from reality. Void space dive, zero sail unfurl. It's still dope. It's a cool, I like it. Okay. Wow, thank you for the free random Saint Quartz. Assault of the Demonic Sword beginning. Oh, hey, a ring. Don't mind if I do. I think I got a bunch of those, actually. Okay. I can't get over the fact that Kire had a rocket launcher. I've always hated Sundays. So I was trying to go for Garfield and it turned into one of the Beatles, but Garfield hates Mondays. Oh, what? Is it because I hate my father? No, is it because I hate my mother? No, it's not that either. When I was little, I wholeheartedly embraced their dreams for me. I really thought everything they talked about would come true. I didn't need to hate them. I didn't even need much in the way of parental love from them. I believed that I would one day reach the 6th imaginary element, just as they wanted. Oh, this is rough, because Sakura just did reach it, huh? I would be the one to make my family's long-held dream come true. I gained the power I needed to accomplish that. But even so, I hated Sundays, detested them even. I loathed having to spend all day Sunday at home, the home I grew up in with my parents. From the time I woke up until the time I went to bed, it felt as though the giant ceiling was crushing me to death. I don't hate my parents, I respect them, I'm proud of them. That much has never changed. So then, what did I hate about Sundays? I think we all hate Sundays because it's the day before Monday. Report from the computer room, report from the computer room. So far, this year's sail is looking just peachy. Just kick back and enjoy this little voyage, the Sea of Time. We've got 150 kilometers to cross, and our current reduced speed, I think it's taking us about an hour or so. Uh-oh, somebody's not happy about this trip. What happened to all that bluster you were spouting about just a little while ago? I know this is only our second voyage, but you should be used to this by now. Am I wrong, Gordolf?
Should somebody check advisors? Tea time already?
Is there something you're worried about, Commander?
Of course not. I couldn't waste time on a foolish sentiment. I thought I would feel better if we defeated the servant who destroyed Konya, but I don't at all. My poor four flush. They were the finest private army I ever had. There might have been a bunch of thuds. I almost said hugs and thudlums, but that's not right. Thugs and hoodlums, but they did their job damn well. After this whole mess is sorted out, I don't need to pay off their life insurance. A bunch that can scrape together more than a penny to my name, of course. That said, this way of getting around really is beyond the pale. I'm more of a man of the land, not the sea. Not that I'd hesitate to board a submarine to save humanity, of course. But this, I may be better about seasickness now, but I don't think I'll ever get used to this zero-cell nonsense.
So you still feel bad even though you're not seasick? Are you claustrophobic or something?
Oh, I'm not claustrophobic. I mean, I don't care for this void space business. It's not something I'm gonna get used to. Let me be clear, getting used to danger means losing sight of security. Oversights, betrayals, bankruptcy. Victories getting revoked by judges. All those sorts of retribution stem from carelessness and arrogance. You can't assume everything will be sunshine and roses because things have to go your way once. Not to mention, verifying the existence of void space may be a great feat, but I'll admit, but be honest, you still have no clue even what it is, do you?
No, not really. It's beyond me.
I make it a rule never to get on any machine I can't drive myself, and yet void space is something only a tiny handful of mages have ever so much as touched. Just thinking about floating around in there makes me, I think it made me sick.
You say that, and your complexion tells me that you're feeling just fine, Gordolf. No, Mr. Gordolf, I admire your gumption. The rest of the staff are equally versed in science and magecraft, but you, Director, are a mage's mage. That is why traveling through void space put you so ill at ease. You are keenly aware of both the benefits and the risk posed by the zero sail. Yet despite that, you are doing your utmost to remain calm and collected. That is truly keeping a stiff upper lip, as they say. Commendable. You must have hit rock bottom quite a few times in your life. Perhaps you're accustomed to being in dire predicaments at this point.
I'm accustomed to nothing of the sort. I've never once crossed the finish line last place, I'll have you know.
Cross the finish line last place? I've never heard an expression like that before, Director Gordolf.
Well, of course you haven't. Unless you get to be a man of my caliber, Mash, even the expressions you use take on a special life of their own.
That's the first time he's ever addressed me respectfully. Yeah, it's Holmes' way of complimenting you, Doctor. I think so too. Mr. Holmes only ever speaks about what he is certain of, after all. He got that right. That's a hell of a nice way to put it, Mash.
Oh? I see. That's what that was all about. If you both say so, you may be right.
Foo-foo.
By the way, Technical Advisor, what's our itinerary for the voyage looking like?
Huh? Director Grodolf Da Vinci just briefed us about that right after we arrived in void space. Maybe he blacked out after we started the zero sail? Oh. I'm sorry, Mr. Grodolf. We had no idea you lost consciousness with your eyes open.
But, come on now, don't be upset. I've handled the G-forces from accelerating over 250 kilometers per hour, I'll have you know. I say, what about you, youngster? Yes, you Tanner. Your father said you frequently fall into REM sleep. I believe you even said you could do it standing up, if I'm not mistaken. This was a special skill of yours.
Hat's right. Hat's right. We call it Tanner REM REM.
Oh, I was just kidding about that skill part. Are you people all right? At any rate, it seems you doze off just as easily as I do. Do you remember what the briefing was about? Perhaps now would be a good time to review all that you know when we are at it.
Yes, that's a good point. I'm sorry. Oh, but as for Senpai, I think he went off to have lunch with Fu after we left on the zero sail.
You heard the man, Da Vinci. Would you be so kind as to summarize your current situation for him?
Sure, if that's what he wants. Okay, let's go over our Meteor itinerary once more. We've just entered the Scandinavian Peninsula. Right around here, I don't see where you're pointing to. At the moment, we're still diving through the storm wall. On our current route, we should emerge here on Northern Europe, at the southern part of Sweden. It's only a 10-kilometer trip, but since we don't have any connection to Scandinavia, surfacing our intended destination will come down to a combination of a dice roll and my navigational genius. And since I've got my hands full making sure our coordinates don't go fluctuating all over, we have no way of knowing if there'll be any hostile entities on the other side. So, be ready for an even rougher emergence than the one we went through in Russia.
In other words, everybody's Lostbelt inevitably comes down to the luck of the draw, eh? Just to make doubly sure, is there any way we could ignore the Scandinavian Lostbelt and head straight to the Northern Sea? Certain conditions need to be in place for us to emerge inside the Lostbelt, right? And why go out of our way to do that? Even if we don't know the Watering Sea's exact coordinates, we could just get to the Northern Sea.
I know, but I'm afraid that's just not possible. We're currently skimming right next to the border between reality space and void space. It's the only way we can peek into reality from the void space, which we have to do if we're about to emerge somewhere we lack a connection to. In addition, the amount of power the shadow border consumes in this mode is directly affected by the amount of real-world distance we travel. I mean, it would have to be that we're following reality so closely. At our current power levels, there's no way the border can zero sail no more than 300 kilometers near the mirror world plane. So we have to emerge in the Scandinavian Lostbelt if we're going to stock up for the journey to the Watering Sea.
I see. The zero sail business sounds good on paper, but it has more than its fair share of drawbacks, doesn't it?
Basically, if we want to go diving and emerging wherever we like...
Yes.
Well, we can't. Neither Border nor myself are up to that, at least not right now. Sorry, Gordy.
Sorry, it's sixpence will get you a decent cup of tea these days. Fine, you're saying you want a real lab with full facilities, right? Once we make our way through Scandinavia and meet up with these Watering Sea, then these things should improve a little, yes?
You got it. I'm so glad you're such a quick study. So as I was saying, just kick back and enjoy the last bit of our voyage. We're currently off from the real-world time by about 10 days. We'll emerge from void space as soon as we're through the storm wall. It's just like what happened in Russia. Then that would mean one of those enormous trees really is here in Scandinavia too.
Indeed. We could see it for ourselves before we began our journey through the storm wall. If we just so happen to emerge near the Tree of Emptiness, we will need to choose between leaving Scandinavia behind or investigating the tree. Regardless, we'll no doubt need to make our way across a considerable bit of land once we reach the inside of this Lostbelt. I encourage you all to remain calm and in control, so that we may better react to whatever awaits us.
I wonder if this Lostbelt will be anything like Russia's.
Although, when the Russian Tree of Emptiness came crashing down, it did so in a rather indecipherable... Uh-oh.
What was that?
Yeah, why was those radar beeps so loud? Something's pinging our omnidirectional sonar. What the? There's something with a fixed wavelength moving around?
Something with a fixed wavelength? Do you mean there's something else here besides the shadow border?
What? Hold on. Chotto mate kudasai. You mean to tell me there's something alive out there in void space?
Foo-foo!
Indeed, under normal circumstances, nothing could possibly exist in void space unless it itself were composed of void. There are exceptions, though. Namely, the all-terrain void transporter Shadow Border, its crew, and the Paper Moon. And that can only mean...
There's someone or something else that can travel via zero sail?
If there were, it would require technology that surpasses Atlas's. I wish I could say that were entirely impossible, but we can't rule it out. Da Vinci, are you seeing anything on your end? Your eyes should be a good deal sharper than ours. I'm sorry, but I've got my hands full keeping track of the real world's terrain. I can't spare any cameras to see what might be near us. Oh, but I noticed one thing that's strange. The shadow border's been running really smoothly for a while now. So there's definitely something out there in our vicinity. I just couldn't tell you what it is. What was with that big blank spot? The border's also got magecraft and spirit radars in addition to sonar, but they're not turning up anything either. Since I can't imagine there could be anything living in void space, I'm guessing it's using soliton-like wave conduction, but...
Wait.
Director Gordolf?
We're under attack!
Oh, Who was it that was saying that the old man had gotten used to this stuff?
It must be some sort of monster served with the ability to zero sail. It could be anywhere.
Yes, it's a distinct possibility. Rasputin mentioned something along those lines, too. As I recall, he said that while he was unable to freely move between Lostbelt, Koi and Sky could do so. It's difficult to imagine she employs the same method that we do, but she may as well have her own means of crossing dimensions.
There, you see? You all saw even the terror for yourselves. These Lostbelts are obviously full of monsters. It wouldn't surprise me at all if one of them was a rider, which is that sort of skill.
You can hear yourself? This is void space, the dimension that shouldn't exist. There's no way something could be here besides the border. A creature of heroic spirit with the ability to conduct a zero sail, I know Miss Miyamoto wanders between parallel worlds, but only that she tumbles from one to another. She's only a drifter who keeps falling through realities because all other possibilities have abandoned her. There's no being in all of reality space besides us who can freely travel between dimensions. That at least was what Atlas Institute's Trismegistus of 2018 says. Trismegistus, rather. Still, it's not something we can rule out entirely. That we are here ourselves means it must be possible for someone else to be here as well. Yeah, exactly, right? Couldn't you have kept that to yourself, Holmes? You're just gonna work the old man up even more.
Better just get closer.
Please come down, Director. I know this may not help put your mind at ease, but I think I sense something close. Is it something we've seen before? No, I don't think so, but strangely enough, I also don't think that whatever it is malicious. In fact, I think it might even be kind of warm and comforting.
Oh, come on now. That's standard demon operating procedure. They bait you with their hook with kindness. I'm not falling for it. I'm gonna listen to my own instincts. Listen up, all of you. I have no desire to become an adventure-crazed nut like the rest of you, but even I can see that making an emergency exit out of void space is our best option here. Therefore, as the Director of Quality, I'm ordering the Shadow Border to make an immediate emergency exit into the reality space.
An emergency exit? I want to take matters aside here, but I do have to admit Gordolf has a point. One thing's for sure, there's something out there that even I can't see. We shouldn't take that lightly. So my vote is for the emergency exit, and as luck would have it, we're very close to the end of the storm wall. That said, there's one thing I want to go over first. We've already crossed the border. We're currently in what used to be southern Sweden, somewhere in the Scandinavian Lostbelt. But when we emerge, the risk will be even greater than they were back in Russia. Cutting out the future predictions in order to force our way back to reality could result in the entire shadow border coming apart. And it's not just the border. All of you could end up seriously hurt as well. If your cells from 10 days ago happen to overlap with your cells from now, just having your bodies catch up with their own regulatory functions will be enough to make you vomit. Are you okay if that ends up happening? Of course, as this vehicle's central processing unit, I'll be doing my best to avoid that.
Of course. At this point, a little nausea is nothing. Just get us the hell out of here, Da Vinci. I don't want to spend another second with this unknown thing if I can help it. I'm responsible for all of your lives here, and as such I refuse to continue on a voyage with such a proximity to an unknown entity. Get the shadow border to the surface right now. Don't make me repeat myself again. Just hurry.
Alrighty, if you're ready to face the music, I'll do my best to make sure it's a pleasant tune. Munier, I'm going to switch over to manual. We don't want the safety functions putting on the brakes on autopilot. Are you serious? Doesn't that completely go against the manufacturer's recommendation? Initiating high-speed calculations, preparing to emerge in... Uh-oh.
An emergency alert. Everyone strap in and take deep breaths while you can.
Don't worry about that alert. We're just putting on a little more strain on the hull than it's designed for. Isn't that incredibly dangerous? Da Vinci knows what she's doing.
Right. You're right. I believe in her, Senpai. I really didn't want to resort to this since it gives me a bad fever. This new, smaller body just isn't as resilient as my old one.
I'll do whatever I can to help. Patch me into the console if you would.
I'll help too.
Thank you. I'm afraid I am relegated to learning by observation myself, but the more hands the better. If only Mr. Babbage were here to help us.
I hear you, but I'm afraid the Spirit Origin briefcase alone isn't enough to summon him outside of short battles. We'll just have to make do. Man, wouldn't it be great if another Salieri dropped into our laps right now? Like, say now? Damn, didn't work. Oh well, worth a shot. Guess we're on our own after all. Alright then, let's do this thing. Oh boy. Activating Paper Moon. Initiating navigational chart plus-minus convergence. Commencing shadow borders. Docking sequence into the reality border. Disengaging near world plane voyage. Though the stratum may dissolve, I continue to exist. Reapplying time flow attraction from reality space. 0.4 second difference between target coordinates and current recognition confirmed. That's well within tolerances, so we are good to go. Emerging from void space, 30 seconds until arrival at reality space. Zero sail complete, emerging into reality space. I just want to see Gordolf. I want to see Gordolf be here covered in vomit.
It's like, oh god, it's everywhere.
Hey, here we go. 1000 BC, the eternal icy fire century, Götterdämmerung, the good fellow of everlasting flame. My knowledge of this Lostbelt is nil. Hey, we're here. We landed. Alright, so we got... Whoa. I guess that's all the icy hot, huh? Okay. Hurrah! An actual battle. And it's a Zerker. Guess what? We got ourselves some foreigners for Zerkers. Ba-ba-bum. Sounds good. Alright. Switch you off, actually. Okay. Well, let's, oh, you're dress locked in story. Does dress locked affect... Does that mean you have your skills? Oh, interesting. Okay, well. Okay, in that case, I might put you off to the back and grab someone else then. Let's go with... Do you have anyone else who could be really good? Hey, I'm so happy. Okay, let's just go with this then. Actually, let's go with this. There we go. Look at those stats. She's getting stronger. The Ortonax exoskeleton is operating within expected parameters. Internal pressure regulation, combustion, and weaponry are all good to go. Armored shielder is cleared to deploy. Well, feeling up to this mash? Yes, all my readings and transformations are working well. Although, what's up? I thought you'd be ejecting me again, but this chamber and model both seem very different. Well, sure. Last time we were sending you into the thick of an ongoing battle, but this time we're just having you check out our surroundings. Besides, Master's coming along with you, and we can't go shooting both you out, can we? Ah. Right, good point. I forgot that Senpai will be joining me. Alright, let's try this again. Are you all set? Yes. Armored shielder ready to deploy. You got it. Shadow border, open the hatch. We are go for a recon mission. Mash really wanted her Gundam sequence again. Senpai. Are you cold? No, not a bit. I know we can see our breath out here like this. But that's the worst of it. Don't worry, I'm fine. Honestly, if you can see your breath, that doesn't mean it's really cold. Like, honestly, like a solid, like, you know, -2, -3, like anywhere around there, where it's enough to snow and for your breath to freeze, but it's not bad. Hey, that's t-shirt weather for me. My cold-resistant gear helps a lot. Besides, it's not as bad as it was in Russia. It does make sense that Scandinavia would still be freezing, though. All that aside, this place is very snowy, isn't it, Senpai? It's 3 degrees Celsius. Oh, that is warm. Like, that doesn't sound warm. That sounds cold for most people. But, yo, if it's 3 degrees Celsius, that is the nicest weather. That's beautiful. But the wind isn't cold at all, and the air feels crisp and clean. It feels like a real winter wonderland compared to Russia. Okay, no. 3 degrees Celsius is like spring. Like, that's lovely. I'm sure the temperature will drop to well below 0 once night falls, but right now I'm just enjoying how peaceful it is. Ah, it's really romantic. I agree. I was just thinking the same thing. We still don't know how exactly, what exactly this Lostbelt is like, but at least this place seems peaceful. It's enough to make me hope that maybe not every Lostbelt is dangerous. But this really isn't the time to wax philosophical. Let's get started, Master. Alright, perimeter check time. Right, let's start by looking for some sort of hill so we can get a better view of our surroundings. The border is recharging for now while it stays camouflaged in the snow. Da Vinci said it would take about 3 hours for it to charge up completely, so let's do our best to explore as much as we can in that time. Okay, we reached the top of that hill. It's nothing but snowy fields as far as I can see. And then there's... Senpai, look! What are we looking at? Oh! Call me Shaquille O'Neal, because that looks like an icy hot. Look at that. It's a white mountain range stretching on forever, and I think they're made of ice and snow? There's some sort of blue haze to the north about halfway along the range. Wait, is that... The mountains are burning. Yes, there's fire burning in parts without trees. I can't see such a thing happening naturally, so it must be some sort of magecraft at work. So that's what this Lostbelt is. A world of mountains, white ice and blue flame. And then there's the sun? It's much too big to be the sun, though. This doesn't add up. I've heard of parts of Scandinavia can get almost no sunlight for months at a time, but I've never seen anything about the sun being this size. I doubt any such records even exist. The sun, huh? Oh, that's huge. I didn't even see that. And another thing, I don't see the Tree of Emptiness anywhere. Huh? But we saw it before we went into the storm. It was clearly visible from outside the Lostbelt. I can't imagine it was suddenly wiped from existence, so maybe it's being hidden with magecraft. Well done on the reconnaissance, you two. You finally had a moment to catch our breath here. Holmes, it seems you're about 500 meters away. Well chosen. That's just about the perfect distance, since we're still unable to detect hostile entities. Thankfully, our emergency exit didn't strain the border as much as we anticipated, but I'm afraid it's still not going anywhere for the time being. Still, we cannot afford to waste any time, which is why we've sent the pair of you out to investigate. A land of fire and ice, It seems this Lostbelt will present its own challenges, I feared. That's all we can see from here. Thank you, just the same. We have a faint visual here as well. The sun does appear to be far larger than normal, but it should be tens of millions of years before it reaches this size. We still don't understand how drastically a Lostbelt can change the environment. This one has transformed our sun into a red giant. Were that the case, forget the ice and snow, the whole world would be a scorched desert. Miss Career-Light may be able to survive such an environment, but Mr. Tanner most assuredly would not. Yes, which means that it may not actually be our sun. Though it may as well be something that looks like the sun, but is in fact not, I don't recall anything along those lines in Scandinavian or Germanic folklore, but I'll take another look just in case. Yeah, what about the fire, though? I have a theory about that. First, take a closer look. I am looking directly at it. Nothing's actually burning. I'm not sure how it works, but the fire appears to be something entirely separate and floating above the mountains. Mysterious to be sure, but there's little cause to doubt that this phenomenon is a result of some form of magecraft. Whatever it is, it must be the work of a cryptor or a Lostbelt servant. That I can say for certain. Assuming he's a Lostbelt servant, what could their true name be? Mr. Holmes really hit the nail on the head, Senpai. Well, of course he did. He's famous for always finding the truth of any situation right away. And of course for captivating readers with his brilliant and elegant deductions. Thank you, Miss Career-Light, though I must admit it is a touch embarrassing to be so effusively praised for the novelizations of my cases. But perhaps that's not so bad every once in a while. I'm not usually one to skip right to the conclusion, but yes, I am quite certain that the one who created those flames is... What is it? Do calm yourself, Foo. Fuck you! Fu, what is it? Is something wrong? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Master, get behind me. We just discovered an enormous humanoid creature. Is this what I think it is? Oh. An enormous humanoid creature, you say? I see, that is troubling, most troubling indeed. He appears to be about 5 meters tall. His arms are also very long. He's wearing some sort of mask. I think he's speaking a language of some kind, but I don't know, he just sounds like Heracles to me. I can't make out what he's saying. It sounds more like an animal howling than any language I know of. Hello? Bonjour? Guten Tag? Ni hao? Konnichiwa? Please listen to me. We're not your enemy. We don't mean you any harm. We are... he doesn't understand. Master, I'm afraid he's coming right for us. He's about to attack. Get ready to fight. Understood. Moving to intercept the hostile. So I think I fought these guys in a event. They were there, and when I saw them, I'm like, oh ho, I know what this is. It is a. Give it a second. Give it a second. Give it a second. Give it a second. A Norse Frost Giant. It's a Jotun. Yeah, I know all about these dudes from various media. Okay, well, let's start off with getting as much as we can with you. Alright. Yeah, there's some mythological things that just get so much play that you know about them a ton. You know, the Frost Giants, thanks to God of War, and as well as, you know, friggin', what's it called? The Thor movies. So it's like, yeah, Norse mythology, period, right? So you know about it, so it's not something too crazy new. 90% no crit, huh? Damn shame. That's gonna hurt. Yep. No, he didn't have the mask the one I fought, if I'm correct. I mean, I think I remember him looking a bit different, so maybe it's not the exact one that we had there. Okay, that isn't enough, but that's fine. We'll get... Let's try and get Hokusai's there, because that'll deal big damage. Oh, we're really not hitting these crits, huh? Okay. I think if I evade with Hokusai, we should have enough with her now. Let's give that a try. Yep. And let's go... I'm not going to use that till we get more, though. Let's go with this. Try and get some more stars. And let's go... like this. Okay. So you evaded that. Heck yeah. Ice Pillar Alarm. Debuff resist down. Okay. Still don't have moves with her. I want to get a full combo with her so we can do some more stuff. Okay, let's do this. And the next turn we will absolutely burst and destroy her. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Here we go. Let's go... Well, let's just focus on a big combo with you first. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And let's do this. Okay. And actually, let's do this as well. Okay. Let's go 1, 2, 3 to continually destroy the defense. We'll see how we do. I think we might just immediately kill, but we'll see. So close. Boulder drop. Oh, come on. After fighting King Protea, that's nothing. Those mountain drops scare me not at all. We got this. Yeah, there we go. All right. Easy peasy. All right. So, and we get ourselves a... Okay, that makes sense that we get them from the giants then. That works, that works. All right. Well, looks like we fought ourselves a Jotun. Oh, wow, Jotun, Aoton. Oh my goodness, it's kind of all coming together, huh? I never even considered that. Wow. Huh. Aoton, Jotun. Huh. Alright. Alright, sorry for the cut there. I mean, real life happens. I do live in a crazy house. So we got some more berserkers, but we also have some assassins at the front. So I think what we're going to do is... Oh... Master Carrier Light Spirit Dress will automatically be set to Ortnax. The Spirit Dress settings will revert... Okay. Well, now they tell us about the dress locking. Only afterwards, because of course. I think because we do have those guys at the front, let's get ourselves... For one, I mean, Situnai is great, so we'll get her up there. And you know what? Also, let's get... let's see here. Who else could we use? That would be very good. I still need to, of course, level up all my alter egos. Boy, I sure have a lot of them, huh? Well, if it's a Hashashin, we need a caster, huh? Well, good news is I got a lot of those. So let's go to a caster. Let's get you. Yeah, because you'll be good for clearing them out. And we'll get you... Actually, let's get you this. Get you this. Okay. Alright. Actually, let's keep these two in the back just so that they can get their stuff. We'll put you up there. Okay. Nothing wrong with just a little stronk gill, so let's get going. Last part probably for now. Let's beat back this big dude. Was that it? The battle is over. We've neutralized the threat. Master, you're looking real tired. Thank you for your concern, Master, but I'm alright. The sudden attack just had me a little out of breath is all. It's nothing to worry about. Boy, people just keep on walking into my room. But here's the thing. During the little time between, I had people on my Discord send me pictures of art of Kirei with a rocket launcher, and I'm so happy. I'm like, that's too cool for there not to be art of. If there wasn't, I would have paid for it myself, but there's a lot, and I'm very happy. All my vital signs are fine. I'm still good to go. I'm doing my best to analyze the recording and battle data now, but at this point I can only say that the creature you fought is nothing like what we've seen. Neither a heroic spirit nor a demonic beast. It was simply an enormous humanoid creature native to Scandinavia, one that could possibly not exist in the 21st century. A giant. As in like the mythical ice giants? Correct. I'm pleased you are already familiar with them. I read that a number of powerful giants used to live in Scandinavia. Of course, this was all a long time ago. In the modern era, there have been barely any giant sightings in Sweden, Denmark, and... Oh, so they just, like, they're not myth. They existed. They really existed in the Fate world. Got it. I believe most of them were during the Age of Gods, back when the old mystics... Yeah, okay, no, you know what? If all that other stuff exists, I guess it makes sense for them to exist as well. I'm sure there are some exceptions, but even so, to encounter one out of nowhere like this... Both Godolph and Mr. Meteor are in something of a tizzy about this impossible encounter, but yes, in the year 2020, giants have long since ceased to exist. I don't know. Have you seen the Toronto Raptors? Heyo, I don't know anything about sports. And yet you've obviously just met one, albeit one that tried to kill you in
even after one attempt to communicate with him, but still. I caught a glimpse of his eyes before the behind the mask, and he seemed consumed by bloodlust. Oh, jeez. So in this version of Scandinavia, creatures from the Age of Gods still live. That is most troubling. I've considered the possibility, but I didn't think I would prove to be true so soon. Damn you, Cryptos! Damn you for throwing something like this at us in only the second Lostbelt! Have you no sense of restraint? I mean, to be fair, there is no guaranteed order. That said, we are far from completely helpless. Miss Curie Light, Mr. Tanner? To begin, I've updated our database with everything I could determine about this creature. We were unable to detect it from the border because Caldia had no information about ancient giants. Furthermore, I also learned there's something rather unexpected about the ice and snow surrounding us. What about them? They are imbued with faint magical energy. The trace is so minute that only an expert mage would be able to detect it at all. The small amount of magical energy created enough interference in our equipment that we were unable to detect the giant's approach. Da Vinci is still quite upset about it. She says being plugged in to function as a bio-unit dulls her senses. Nonetheless, I'll do my best to update our data immediately. I'm also sending an update for the Ortonaxis firmware. Oh? You have day 1 MASH patch? Confirming update now. Master? I'm picking up new hostiles in our periphery. There's at least several ice beasts traveling alongside another giant. Well, we have to make it back before we're surrounded. Understood. Oh boy, he do be sprinting. I can see them up ahead, Master. Well, time to fight then. Roger, roger, let's do this. Oh my god, they keep sending me art of Kirei with multiple rocket launchers, and it's the best. It's so good. Oh my god, all these Kirei rocket launcher art makes me so happy. It's just so perfect. It's so good. Alright, what do we got out here? Ooh, Is Ulfer. Okay. So we got ice beasts. Okay. Umu indeed. Hey, shoutouts to my figure of Caster Nero that I got. I think at the beginning of this part I'm gonna put a video of my my updated and upgraded Fate shelf, because it's real cool. It's no longer a shelf; it's now a cabinet, and it is growing by the day. Crit, thank you. Gil's ready to go. Okay, and let's go 1, 2, 3. All right, kill. Thank you. Nice crit. Oh, so close. Icy Intimidation. HP recovery down. Well, it's a little annoying, but nothing we can't get around. That should be enough for her to get her meter then in the next one with the with her skill there. Oh, we got a Jotun and an Ice Giant. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's actually apply the 50% attack bonus to you, because then we'll definitely deal more damage. We'll also do this to you, and let's go yeah, let's go let's do Enema, this for more defense down, or this will give defense down to him too, so we'll do this. Sure, and then 80% seems like our best bet for the most damage. I do like me some big numbers. Wow, we did a lot, huh? Nice. Is he dead? So close. He will be now. Sayonara. He's got you left. Alright. And let's finish you off as well.
It's very fitting I'm using Sany here. She very fits the world, it seems. Although I don't actually know her where she appears in the story, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Well, looks like we got rid of those giants, at least for now. Is that him falling, I hope? Yep. That should wrap things up for now. We've defeated another giant and several ice beasts. I no longer detect any hostiles nor magical energy signals in our vicinity. Wait, you're right, Mr. Holmes. I can sense faint magical energy around us, coming from the snow. Maybe it's a Lostbelt servant that can control snow? I'm not sure, but that certainly seems possible. Let's hash that stuff out later, you two. For now, you should hurry back to the border. Holmes, from now on, maybe start waiting until people are in a safe location before you start your long-winded explanations. There's no guarantee that there aren't other giants still lying in wait out there. Both of you, get your butts back here and be careful. Anyway, great job collecting all this data right after we emerged. That should be a big help. Oh good, you're back. Welcome home, you two. It's good to be back. The Ortonax is working wonderfully. Thank you again for that. Glad to hear it. Gordolf's having a little rest. Said he was having a nervous breakdown or something. I guess the emergency exit was pretty hard on him. Guess all that worrying he did about scouting out our surroundings after we emerged was for nothing. I wouldn't say that. He's trying to keep us safe in his own way. Naturally, his primary concern is his own survival, but there's still an important part of being a leader. When things get dangerous, you snap to attention. When things get dicey, you get right the hell out. That's how things are supposed to go, but the further removed the higher-ups are from the action, the softer they get when it comes to making those calls. So in that sense, Director Gordolf is exceedingly good at his job. I'm not sure why, but he seems to treat any danger his field operatives are in as danger to his own life. I wonder what that's all about. Maybe he had a really strict tutor growing up or something. You know, like someone teaching him to think about war from the perspective of the people he's sending out to onto the battlefield. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. That would definitely explain some things. Now that you mention it, he always looked like he was in a lot of pain whenever Tanner was in a tight spot back in Russia. Talk about empathy. I wonder he was always kicking up such a fuss. At any rate, make sure you write up the recon findings in a nice report template when you hand it off to him, if you don't mind. That ought to be more than enough to keep old Gordy in the loop. On a different note, you guys really had a rough time out there. Not really, actually. We're pretty good. Yes, we did. Giants are beings from the Age of Gods. Not even mages have seen more than the occasional fossil of them. Any survivors in areas where mystics were still in full force would probably be seen as threats and taken out by the heroes of their respective ages. They're certainly not something you run into every day. I mean, you guys didn't see hide nor hair of them in any of the 7 eras you race shifted to, right? Not even in the actual Age of Gods. And now we just happen to run into not 1, but 2 in modern-day Scandinavia? I believe those giants you encountered were Jotnar, members of the Jotun race of giants. In the Age of Gods, the Norse world was composed of 9 realms. One such realm was Muspelheim, the land of flame. Another was Niflheim, the land of ice, through which an icy river of poison flowed. When these 2 realms collided, the poisonous frost melted. Then, when it was exposed to Muspelheim's heat, it grew into a tremendous giant. That was Ymir, said to be the ancestor of all Norse giants. The race of giants that went on to spring forth from Ymir's body were called Jotun, the Frost Giants. These giants were truly beings belonging to the era when gods walked the earth. At times, the Jotnar would mix with the Norse gods, giving birth to new gods and giants alike. It's said that the surviving Jotnar eventually fell out of mythology and went on to become trolls. But what you two saw today were no trolls. They were most definitely Jotnar. Whoa. Wow, do you know a lot about giants, Holmes? Well, I am Sherlock Holmes, you realize. I am the one who finds the truth, regardless of my spirit origin. I believe I said as much when I introduced myself. No, sorry, I'm just having you on a bit. You see, the paper moon is not the only thing I picked up while I was visiting the Atlas Institute. Huh? Trihermes. Precisely. Well, there, I came in contact with the pseudo-spiritron and calculation engine Trihermes. When I did so, I happened to peruse some secret medicinal data pertaining to giants. Now I see, Holmes, you rascal. I don't see what's so funny. Don't you ha 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 me, Buster. You're supposed to tell me these things before I need to know them. It's not fair that you get to do all the fun exposition. Besides, we're a team. You know, we should be pooling our knowledge and stuff. I shall take that under advisement, especially considering it comes from none other than the great Leonardo da Vinci herself. All that said, I could certainly use a bit more information myself. Is this simply a Norse lost belt where a once lost race of giants still run amok? I very much doubt that is all there is to it. Right, the ones you saw today were powerful beings of mystics, but they were still living creatures. If nothing else, I can say for sure that the beings we encountered weren't servants. Correct. They were indeed absolutely not servants. Based on what we know from Russia, we can assume there is a being who rules over this lost belt, and a cryptor who tends to the Tree of Emptiness. While our primary concern is with the latter, there remains a strong possibility that we will come into conflict with the former as well. That said, our goal this time does not include engaging them in battle. Our intent is to cross Scandinavia without them even knowing we were here. Yep, exactly. Still, we should really take a little break first, don't you think? Thankfully, there's a lot more magical energy concentrated here than there was in Russia, so the border shouldn't have any problem recharging. We'll set off again in a little while, so make sure you two rest up while you can. Hiking across a snowy mountain does a real number on your legs and back, you know. I very much recommend getting those kinks ironed out while you can. Right, oh, but first I almost forgot Mr. Holmes. Yes, Miss Curelight? I'm sorry, but back when we had just looked over the mountain range, remember how you and Senpai were talking? At the time, there was something else we wanted to ask you about. Yeah, what's to do with the fire? You didn't tell us that. It's a strange fire that kept burning without spreading. Do you know what it is, Mr. Holmes? I can't say I know for certain. I only have a hypothesis, albeit one in which I am quite confident. I suppose I would make this more of an induction than a deduction. At any rate, the fire's none other than... Wow, really? Are you for real? This is the second time. Another alert? Foo-foo-foo! What the? Our sensors busted? Crap, no, it's worse. They're working perfectly. Tanner Holmes, a freaking enormous magical energy signal just popped up near us out of nowhere. It's like a magical reactor core. This monster's on par with the Angerboda, powered by the Greater Grail we saw in London. Wow, okay. That's big. That's huge. Wow, okay. Did not expect that. Bum-ba-da-da-dum. Saint Quartz get. And more important, well, not more importantly, but a Giant's Ring. Okay, Assault of the Demonic Sword. Well, we'll check that out, guys, next time as we continue on with the Eternal Icy Fire Century, Götterdämmerung, which I have no idea how it's pronounced. Alright, we'll see you guys next time for some more then. Ciao.